Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we'll be covering chapter number 3, shlok number 12 and 13 today. So let's see the shloka first and the translation. Ishtan bhogan hi bo deva dashyanti yagna bhavita tevdaitan apradhebhyo yo bhumte stena eva sa. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In charge of various necessities of life, the demigods, being satisfied by the performance of yagna, sacrifice, will supply all necessities to you. But he who enjoys such gift without offering them to demigod in return is certainly a thief. Shlok number 13. Yagnasishta sinasinto muchyante sarva kilvishaha bhujante te tab agraham papa te pachanti atma karana. Translation. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kind of sins because they eat food which is offered first for sacrifice. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sins. So there is a common link between 11, 12 and 13. So we'll also recap with the previous shloka. How our desires can be fulfilled in material world by demigods worship. So this is the theme. How our desires can be fulfilled in material world by demigods worship. So demigod being pleased by sacrifices will please the living entities. Thus by cooperation between men and demigod, prosperity will rule over the world. So it is very important that even the demigods, so we very clearly understand the difference between God and demigods, right? So God can be only one and demigod are multiples, or you can say demigods are infinite. So not only we have to please the Lord, even demigods satisfaction is very important for living entities. Why that we'll see. So in shlok number 11, it is saying that when even the demigods are pleased and there is a cooperation between the living entities and demigod, the prosperity will happen. Now you can see day by day what is happening. There is a scarcity of rain. Especially if you see in South India, till now there is no rain. And when people talk about yagna, especially the devotees talk about yagna, many people laugh at them. What is the power of yagna? They feel that yagna is just waste of, it is some kind of cult. It is just a waste of time. But as a devotee, we know the power of yagna. And then if you see this shloka, this present shloka number 12, it is clearly mentioning in Bhagavad-gītā that without yagna, one is thief. So God has clearly mentioned, if you are not doing any kind of yagna, you are a thief. And he says, Lord says, one who enjoys the gift Gift means all the nature's offerings to us. May it be rain, may it be rice, or any kind of pleasures, material pleasures. So 12 number shloka says, one who enjoys this gift without offering them to demigod is certainly a thief. So that is in slok number 12. Now we have to understand who are these demigods. So there are three definitions that is given about these demigods. So we'll see what are these three definitions. So number one is empowered administrators. Administrators. Number two, they are also referred as countless assistants. Countless assistants. And third, they are referred as authorized supplying agents. So, what is this empowered administrators? That means all the material affairs that is happening, they take care of the administration. Who? These demigods. So these demigods are called as empowered administrators. They are given some kind of power to administrate all the nature or the complete Bhumandal, what we are seeing, they are administered by demigods. So they take care of the material affairs. And they are also referred as countless assistants. Why they are called as countless assistants? Because you consider them as in different parts of the body of Supreme Personality of God, they are doing some service. So that is why they are referred as countless assistants. They are serving Lord throughout day and night in the different parts of Supreme Personality, the Lord's body. So they are called as assistants. And they are also referred as authorized supplying agents. So remember this point, authorized, because Lord has given them only the power to supply all the necessary thing to the nature and living entity. That is why they are referred as authorized supplying agents. Nowadays, if you see all these politicians, scientists, they think they are only authorized to supply everything, which is so wrong, right? Can the scientist produce grains or rain? It is not possible. Artificially, they can do something. But those are, we have to remember, they are byproducts. They are not natural. You see, in Dubai, they are doing artificial rain. They do this cloudburst. But there are a lot of consequences of that, and it is not perfect also. Sometimes it will become complete drought or it will be flooded. We have seen recently that Dubai is completely flooded. So that is what happened when you think yourself as authorized supplying agents. That is why Bhagavad-gītā 5,000 years back, they have clearly mentioned who are the authorized agents. So these demigods are the authorized agent. We should not forget. Then what are the function of demigods is clearly mentioned in Shlok number 11. Says supplying all the benedictions necessary to keep the body and soul together. See, if we don't keep our body and soul together, it is very difficult to get the Krishna consciousness. So not only we have to purify our soul, we have to also purify our body. Until you purify your body, you cannot purify your soul. So how the body can be supplied with all these benedictions? They are given by the demigods. So their pleasure and displeasure depends on the performance of yajna. That is why the yajna is so important. That is why yajna is so important. Now, what is the chief purpose of doing all this yajna? We have to remember that ultimately doing all this yajna is not to satisfy the demigod, but ultimate satisfaction goes to Yagnapati. Who is Yagnapati now? Yagnapati is nobody else but Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu is the actual Yagnapati. So we'll see that. So if you see Bhagavad-gītā, chapter number 5th, shlok number 29, there Lord is also referred as Bhoktaram. And now in this previous shlok number 11, it is also talked about benefits of yajna. There is no scarcity of supply of natural products. Thus, happiness in this world is guaranteed. People talk about, scarcity of water or grains that will happen in future in some point of time, which is very much not correct actually. It is people who are actually creating this scarcity because of the various hidden agendas. Like you see, they will create a scarcity and increase the price of some products. But actually, if you see in Bhagavad-gītā, it is clearly written, there is no scarcity of any natural products. Now, if you see animals, these birds and animals, they are many times more than human beings. Do they have any scarcity? We have to understand this. If they don't have any scarcity, they have all food and water and everything, then how we can have this kind of scarcity? It is only the artificial things that are created by people among themselves because of the some kind of personal benefit and political agenda. So this happiness in this world is guaranteed, right? Happiness in this world is guaranteed, provided we do a gradual purification of our body and soul. So now the question comes, how we can do this gradual purification of our body and soul? And this can happen with following steps. How this can happen? When eatables are sanctified by yajna. So you see, we are coming back to yajna again. So whatever we are eating should be purified by yajna. They are produced by yagnas. They are also purified by yagnas. So all this rain, devotees do yagna. So especially we know that Indradev is there, who is in charge of producing rain. Then there are different demigods. They produce different things. It is not produced, or it is not, the scientists don't have the power. Politicians don't have the power to bring it and produce it to the human being. So ultimately, it is the yagna. When the demigods are satisfied, these things will be produced. Again, remember that demigods also have egos. Like human being, demigods also have egos. When we go to the pastime back of Indra, what he did? When Krishna told the Vrajvasi, ki don't worship Indradev, because they used to worship Indradev, right? And when Lord told not to worship Indradev, Indra got angry and he started throwing continuous rain. And people are scared. People are scared. So Indra got ego and he did that. So we have to remember that even demigods may have lot of egos. So ultimately, all this yagna, the benefit actually goes back to Bhoktara, that is the Lord. So later, Indra realized this, right? So all this Indra, Brahma, they are only the post. They have to remember that. Anybody, anytime, it can be replaced by anybody and any point of time. So they are only, that is why they are called as the agents. They have to only do their duty, nothing else. So when the eatables are sanctioned by yagna, then what happens? It is purified our finer tissue in the memory. So we have brain, and then in the brain we have the memory, and those are made of fine cells and tissues. So this is science. No, it is not a philosophy. We have to understand that when this yagna are performed, our tissues get purified, and then they can think of the path of liberation. That is why you see people who don't do the devotion service like chanting, doing all the bhajan, serving Lord, preparing food for Lord, they cannot think, or they don't get that bhakti bhav, because their brain, their intelligence are not purified. So now we know why the yagna is so important. So we have to purify this tissue in our memory so that our brain and intelligence can think about the path of liberation. And all these combined led to Krishna consciousness. And that is the great necessity of present day society. That is why people are suffering so badly nowadays. And if this continues, we'll have scarcity of rain, grain, and everything. So now, for whom this sacrifice to demigod is recommended? If ultimately beneficiary is supposed to be Vishnu. So we have to understand this is for one who cannot understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is clearly mentioned, people who don't understand the Lord, for them, what is recommended? the sacrifice to the demigods. Those people should serve demigods. All this Indra, Brahma, they should please them. If they don't understand who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because what happens? Through that channel, it will go to Supreme Personality of Godhead, and gradually they will go towards Lord. So, basis of different yagnas, they are recommended based on different modes of different persons. Ultimately, goal of all yagna is gradually promotion to transcendental position. All these material necessities will come through only yagna. For example, all these eatables, either vegetarian or non-vegetarian. Because why non-vegetarian we are mentioning? Because all these animals also depend on this vegetarian food. And then all this heat, light, water, air, etc. These are all manufacturing enterprises which are manufactured by demigods. If one is missing, the complete nature is finished. All these human beings are over. There will be no life. So we have to understand these are not any coincidence. These are arrangement of Supreme Personality of God, Lord Krishna. If one is also missing, then all is gone. But what is happening? We people, especially, people who have a lot of money, political power, or having all philosophical and scientific knowledge, they think they only can produce all this. But it is not at all possible. You cannot do if Lord don't sanction through demigods. They cannot do anything. Artificially they will do, but that will, instead of benefit, it will more harm, like we have seen in Dubai what is happening. They want to produce rain and they got flood. So the purpose of all these material supplies, we have to understand they are not for self-enjoyment. They have to keep it, the ultimate purpose of all these material supplies, we have to remember they are only for keeping the body and soul together for self-realization. So the danger of not performing yagna, in this shloka we are seeing, if we are not doing yagna, we are called as thief. Because one forgets the purpose of creation. And takes all the supplies of this sense gratification and thus enjoys the gift without offering to demigod in return. In shlok number 12, it is mentioned. The society of thieves can be never happy. Then this is the consequences. See what happens? You are doing sense gratification. You are just enjoying with all these material pleasures. You will be called as thieves, and the consequences is you will be never happy. See why most of the people, or actually 100% of the people in Bhulok, they are not happy. The intensity will be, some will be not happy 10%, some will be not happy 50%, some will be 90%, all because of our past karma, how we have done the sense gratification before. That is why we are trying to improve our future. That is why we say, ki stop sense gratification. Let's do the sense gratification of Lord Krishna's pleasure. So ultimately, this society of thieves will never be happy because they have no aim in life. And that is mentioned in shlok number 12. And in shlok number 13, it is mentioned that they will get the sinful reaction. That is the consequences of doing sense gratification. So you will get the sinful reaction. That is why we are suffering in this Bholoka. So what is the remedy? The easiest remedy is yagna. So we are coming back again and again to this yagna. And now the question will come, in this Kali Yuga, what is this yagna? Is it we have to create all this, homa and create fire? So those things are fine, but they are, since we are not perfect, doing all these fire sacrifices and chanting Vedas of different yagnas, it is very difficult for us because we are very sinful. The meaning of Kali Yuga is we are the most sinful person. That is why Mahaprabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came around 500 years back in Mayapur Dham, and he prescribed, like doctor prescribed the medicine, he prescribed the easiest yagna for this Kali Yuga. And that is nothing but Sankirtana Yagna. Right now, what we are doing is nothing but Sankirtana Yagna, where we together do the chanting, we do the listening, we read Bhagavad-gītā, Bhagavad Puran, Chaitanya Charitamrita. These are inaugurated by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sankirtana Yagna. So if you link now with Mahabharata, you will see the link between 12 and shlok number 13. If we relate with Arjuna, what we see that Arjuna thought, I need no yagna. I don't need demigod or opulent necessities of life. Nor I should perform any yagna to live. Arjuna thought, I will go to the forest and go there and do the begging. I will not take anything from demigod. Because I will go to forest, I will do begging, and through that I will eat. So that way I will not get any sinful reaction. So because Arjuna was thinking, even yagna, if you are doing wrong, you will get sinful reaction. So not only I won't be a thief, but I won't take part in this ghastly, sinful warfare. So Arjuna thought, I will get relieved from all this by running away, go into the forest. Many people nowadays also do that. They think they will go to Himalaya and they will get liberated. So in reply to that, we'll see in next shloka, that is shlok number 14, Krishna replies to this. And he replies to Krishna that, and he is warning, Krishna is actually replying to Arjuna, and he is warning Arjuna that even in forest, don't forget that food you are going to eat, that food is nurtured by rain coming from demigod. So ultimately you will go back to the square one. Even in forest, what will happen? You will eat some food that is coming from rain, because grains are produced by rain only. And the source is through demigod, channeled through demigod. Therefore, he cannot avoid this obligation to perform sacrifice born of his prescribed duty. So, this slok number 13, devotee get freed from all these sins because they eat food which is first offered to or offered in sacrifice. Thus, they experience real peace and happiness. Those people who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment, they eat only sin. So clearly it is mentioned. Clearly it is mentioned, you are just eating food without doing sacrifice. So that is the reason why we first offer food to God and then we eat the remittance. So our main focus of learning this shlok number 13, if you see in the purport or the shloka, it is mentioned as santas. The definition of santas is devotees who are always in love with Lord. Santas are referred as devotees who are in love with Lord. And also if you see in Brahma Samhita, chapter 5th, shlok number 38, it is mentioned as Prema Jana. So different yagnas are performed by devotees, different varieties of devotional service, such as we know different varieties of devotional service, right? There are Nav Bhakti, that is called as Navada Bhakti, Sarvanam, Kirtanam, etc. So benefit is, so we don't have to do all the 9 bhaktis or devotional service. Even one if we do, it is make us, the benefit is we get the freedom from sinful reaction. So these are referred as Sankirtana Yagna. So easiest process to be happy and peace for all people without doing Yagna. Because without Yagna, what happens? Or without this Sankirtan, what happens? One is thief and sinful, and there will be no happiness. So how devotees are freed from sinful reaction? Because we have to first offer it to Lord for sacrifice. People who actually prepare the food for their own self, it is clearly mentioned they are thieves and they are actually incurring sinful reactions. And that is the main reason why people nowadays are not happy. So we have to cultivate this habit of offering this, whatever we are doing, we have to offer it to Lord, and then it become purified, and that is how we are going to live happily. So thank you. Thank you, Prabhujis and Matajis. I think time is also up. So thank you for the association. Hope these 2 shlokas are very clear. So main takeaway is we have to do yagna, and yagna means Sankirtana Yagna, which is clearly mentioned 500 years back by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we have to, most important is we have to do the chanting and offer our food to Lord and then eat. So as we saw that, it will clear our mind. It will purify our mind, and then only we will appreciate Lord. Otherwise, we will not be able to come to Lord, and we will be sad. There will be no. So that is all about today's shloka. So thank you, Prabhujis and Matajis. Thank you for joining today. So if there is any questions, then I will try to answer. Anything related to offering food or how to do the yagna. So easiest way, now we know how we can actually purify our